I'm going to give away a free t-shirt, ask and answer a question, bring you comics news, and reveal the books I bought this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching a Comic Hero Show. Now kick that intro! Edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. The summer of superheroes continues, and on this episode, I'm showing some love to the God of Thunder and the King of Asgard, Thor. Now, Thor is originally a character of Norse mythology, but the comic book character as we know him today was created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby, and he made his debut in Journey into Mystery number 83 in 1962, which also marks the character's 60th anniversary. And also I'm doing this episode in observance of in celebration rather, of the release of the new movie, Thor, Love and Thunder, which just came out in theaters last Friday. I haven't seen it yet, so don't spoil it for me. I'm eventually going to go see it real soon. Thor is one of my favorite comic book characters. Now, granted, I didn't really start reading Thor until 14 years ago, and that was when J. Michael Straczynski, who is a legendary screenwriter and science fiction novelist, and also the creator of the hit TV show Babylon 5, until he started writing the book, and then after that I was hooked in it. I've been hooked ever since, and I've learned so much about the character over the years. Now, this is a Thor comic hero tee, and if you would like your very own, you can find them on my website, IamTheComicHero.com, for $20. And here's the one thing that a lot of folks don't know about Thor. Even though, in terms of Marvel, or the character we know of today, even though he made his debut 60 years ago, there was also another version of Thor that popped up in the comics a decade earlier. And at one point, Jack Kirby was actually doing artwork. And he talked very briefly back in the 80s about that version of Thor that he did, and he said that there was so much that the character lacked, but then Stan added a lot more to it, and the rest, as they say, is history. All right, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. All right, on last week's episode, I asked, which Robin becomes Deathstroke in an alternate DC universe? Well, the correct answer is Dick Grayson, which happens to be the first Robin. Well, 6 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, the names have been entered in the drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is... Bo Thomas from Farmerville, Louisiana. So congratulations, Bo. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. All right, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is an Iron Man question, and this question is so easy that I'm not even going to give a hint. All right, here it is. Which actor did Marvel Studios initially refuse to cast as Iron Man because of his alcoholic habits? There you go. I'm not even going to give a hint because everyone knows who this is. This actor has been in so many other great movies, from Sherlock Holmes to Sherlock Holmes and the Game of Shadows, The Judge. I mean, I could just go on and on. But yeah, you should definitely know this one. Well, anyway, everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee on next week's episode of the show. And I'm expecting a lot of folks to get this right. I'm expecting a lot of folks to enter. Either way, someone's going to win a free t-shirt next week. So, I gotta ask, any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I didn't thrive in. Questions I will survive in. Questions.
All right, I only have one question for this week, and it's from John Nix from Monroe, Louisiana. He asked, who's your favorite underutilized hero? Well, John, that's easy. I'd have to say Firestorm. Now, Firestorm, when he was created back in 1978 by Jerry Conway and Al Milgrom, he was the bee's knees. Anywhere from there to the mid '80s, and then in the early 2000s to the early 2010s, he was, woo boy, they made him like beast mode. But then over time, he's just taken a back seat to a lot of other characters, and he hasn't had a series since I think 2013. But I would love for someone to come around and just write a great Firestorm story, or a great, even if it's a limited series. I've always loved Firestorm. Now, of course, Firestorm is it takes two people to create Firestorm. It's not just one person. It's actually a combination of two making one. Now, when he was first created in 1978, and this happened all the way through through 2005. The two characters that they used for Firestorm were Ronnie Raymond and Professor Martin Stein. But then Ronnie Raymond gets killed, and then Jason Rush takes over, but then Professor Martin Stein goes missing, and then finds out that he's dead, and then somehow Jason Rush finds a way to become Firestorm on his own, and then sometimes he would use other characters in order to become Firestorm. And then when the New 52 came, Jason Rush and Ronnie Raymond were two college students who somehow got caught in the Matrix, and they became Firestorm. And then sometimes he would become his version of Firestorm, and then sometimes Jason would become his own version of Firestorm, and Ronnie would become his version of Firestorm, until they finally came on one accord. They said, hey, let's work together. Both of ours work. And when I think of that version, it makes me think of the Superman Red, Superman Blue story arc in 1997 and 1998. When Superman had electromagnetic powers. But ever since then, I think they rewrote that Professor Martin Stein was alive, and now it's him and Ronnie Raymond once again. But I would love to see a lot more of Firestorm. I mean, bring him back to his old glory, especially back anywhere between 1978 to the mid '80s. I would love to see that. And for all you folks that thought that Firestorm was created for the Super Friends series, he wasn't. Again, he was created by Jerry Conway and Al Milgrom in 1978. But y'all keep these questions coming. Now, on next week's episode, I'm going to do this segment again, and I'm going to have another question by John Nix. All right, now it's time for Comically Speaking. So without further ado, let's talk comics! All right, there's only one thing we're going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and that's the news of a traveling comic book store coming to West Monroe on July 30th. Now, it's hosted by Kenny's Comics. Now, Kenny's Comics is a comic book store in Odessa, Texas, and they're known for having so much inventory that when opportunities present themselves, they usually go to different towns and cities across the country and sell some of their merch. And honestly, I'm totally on board with this. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to be there as a spectator. If you're living anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's in the area, whether it's Northeast Louisiana, North Central Louisiana, Northwest Louisiana, East Texas, South Arkansas, West Mississippi, what have you. I mean, if you live near or far, come out and support these folks. Come out and support the Twin Cities. I mean, I've lived in the Twin Cities for 7 years, folks, and let me tell you, It's one of the best tourist attractions. They have some of the best locally owned restaurants. And just so don't just give Kenny Comics their business. Give all these local establishments around West Monroe your business. Especially one of my favorite locally owned restaurants in the area is Traps, and it's owned by my good friend Joey Trappe. And and here's an admission for the traveling comic book store. It's $1, and it's going to be at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites on Constitution Avenue in West Monroe. So I'm really excited about this, and I hope to see some of y'all there. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. But let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first up is Action Comics number 1044. The Amazing Spider-Man number 5. Aquaman number 5. Avengers Forever number 7. Batman number 125. Batman Catwoman number 12. Oh, let me show you. Double cover. Check it out. Also worked by Clayman. Black Panther number 7. Dark Crisis number 2. Detective Comics number 1061. Flashpoint Beyond number 3. The Joker number 15. Legion of X number 3. Nubia, Queen of the Amazons number 2. Radiant Red number 4. Robin number 15. Sabretooth number 4. Sabretooth number 5. And finally, What If Miles Morales number 5. Alright, that's 18, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 11,450. Alright, well, I hope y'all enjoyed this week's episode. Here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. Which actor did Marvel Studios initially refuse to cast as Iron Man because of his alcoholic habits? Now, I kind of gave y'all some hints, but I'm not going to do that because everyone knows who this actor is, and we all love him. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in the drawing for a free tee on next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Bo Thomas from Farmerville, Louisiana, who won a free tee on this week's episode. All right, Summer of Superheroes rolls on, and on next week's episode, going to show some love to the strongest there is, the Incredible Hulk. And this year also marks the Incredible Hulk's 60th anniversary. And on episode 411, going to show some love to the Princess of the Amazons, Wonder Woman. Then on episode 412, showing some love to the Man of Steel, the first ever superhero, Superman. Then on episode 413, in observance of this character's 60th anniversary, going to show some love to the amazing, spectacular, and sensational Spider-Man. Had to say that because that's pretty much all what he's been called. He's had a lot of books, and they were called the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and the Sensational Spider-Man. So had to throw all that in there. All right, if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, welcome. And as soon as you're done watching, hit subscribe. And if y'all have any suggestions for the show, anything y'all think will make the show better, please let me know. If it's anything negative, keep it to yourself. And also, I'm also accepting requests for the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown segment, questions for the Unique Question segment. And then I'm also accepting topics for the Comically Speaking segment. I mean, I love looking up comics news and bringing it to y'all every week, but if there's something that I'm unaware of, or you think that I'm unaware of, please let me know. Unless it's negative, any input that y'all may have never falls upon deaf ears with me. All right, I'm Victor Nunley on the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 410. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero.